welcome in the members of our show today, and I will go ahead and tell our floor master that the monitor is off over here. Jimmy Himes right here, Vince Ferrara right here, although it's the holiday season, so it's Ferrara. Vince Ferrara, Paige Dower right here, thank you, and Bob Hodge right there.
He's also off today, so there you go.
Yeah, that's right, he's off today, so we got more people rotating through. But if you think I usually squint looking at the monitor over there, today's going to be real challenging if that monitor is not on. All right. Want to knock out some business right off the top. Let's take a look at the college football playoff bracket. There you go. Tennessee and Ohio State, of course, you know this. Winner plays Oregon at the Rose Bowl. You win that, you're probably going to play Texas, Clemson, or Arizona State, but probably Texas. Get through that. You get the picture. That's a tough road. That's a tough road to a championship. I think Tennessee fans should be happy just to be in the mix. And it would be great to win one at Ohio State. Obviously, you want to win it all, but let's start with Ohio State. And let's take a look at what they did on the season. There you go. And for those of you wondering, if you're going up to Columbus, it's Brutus the Buckeye that you see there. That silly little Buckeye running head. It's Brutus is his name. But Ohio State was a team that was ranked in the top three basically all season. They gave Oregon their best game of the year, losing by 1 at Eugene. Then they go the rest of the way through, and they get down to the final game and choke for the 4th consecutive year against Michigan, which has landed Ryan Day in some hot water. We'll talk about that as we go through it. But looking at it, this has been a loaded team. You're going on the road where you've had questionable track record. Bob Hodge, your thoughts? Just get us started here. Tennessee heading to Ohio State and Columbus next weekend.
If you combine a little bit about what you just said, Tennessee going on the road where you've had your struggles, with the fact that I think if you look at Ohio State's roster and if you look at what they got as far as star players, I think this is the most talented team looking at all conference and where the guys are going to go in the draft. I think this is the most talented team you've played all year as far as those metrics are concerned. And so I think when you look at just the physical ability that they have, Tennessee is going to have a problem on both sides of the ball. But if you also look at what Michigan did, if you also looked at Ohio State, kind of like Tennessee struggled in some other games. It wasn't all just go out there and walk over people. So I look at it as if you're looking at the roster, Ohio State's better. But it just doesn't come down to the roster because Ohio State was better than Michigan, too.
Yeah, well, $20 million roster should get you that. Yeah. We've seen what they've been able to do this season, and I think when you look at this matchup, you've heard a lot about what Tennessee secondary will do against OSU's wide receivers, especially out wide. But I honestly think it's probably going to be that second level of defense with the linebackers, because I don't think this is going to be a game where we see a bunch of 75-yard bombs. I think it's going to be those 15 to 20-yard opportunities, which gets to your linebackers, gets to your star position with Boot Carter, and I think what they can do at that second level of defense will play a big role in how this game goes.
And Tennessee's had trouble at that level since Keenan Peeling went down. In terms of stopping the run, they've had a lot more looks thrown at them, a little bit more motion, and they've had a hard time dealing with it. Vince and Jimmy, your thoughts on this game?
Boy, this is a game you could really use Keenan Peeling, right? I mean, with not only handling the run game of Ohio State with those two outstanding backs, but handling the moment, too. That's a calming presence. And you saw as more time went on that Tennessee did show that they could really use Keenan Peeling. So this is a lot between the ears to me. The physical talent standpoint is there, but it's between the ears. What's Ohio State's mindset, mentality, focus coming off of that loss to Michigan? What's Tennessee's handling that moment?
Well, Ohio State didn't handle it all that well after they lost to Oregon, right, against Nebraska. Nebraska wasn't that good. I think Will Howard's a big key to this game. They brought him in. It's interesting to me that, and he's been up and down. He's had some really good games, been very productive. He's had some games where he had difficulty with his accuracy. But if you look at the guy that left, Kyle McCord, he completed more passes this year at Syracuse than Will Howard attempted at Ohio State. Now, another factor is, what's Ohio State's game plan going to be? If they roll out the game plan they had against Michigan, I love Tennessee's chances. Just run it up the middle 48 times. Yeah. So I think that's going to be a key. But I think the play Will Howard's going to be a key in this one, too.
I can tell you that Ohio State, having lived up there, I still have a lot of friends that are Ohio State fans. It's funny. I like them. I root against Ohio State like they're the Taliban, though. But they were so freaked out by that game plan. And apparently there was a team meeting up there after the game that was like, why in the world were we doing this? And Ryan Day's attitude was we were going to establish our machismo and go out there and run it into the heart of Michigan's defense. And all it did was get him burned. Let's talk about the fact that this is a road game, a big road game. Heupel has had some success on the road. It's not like he hasn't won any road games. You went to Oklahoma this year and won, which Alabama can't say that. At the same time, we know that there are usually one or two teams a year, Arkansas, Georgia this year, South Carolina in the past, Missouri, Florida. Some big games, it doesn't look good. Crowd gets to them. But that's often been a tempo-related thing, and they haven't run tempo. So where are you on the fact that road games are trouble, typically,
You got
for
off
Josh
to
Heupel?
such a great start at Georgia. I mean, the best start you've had, not counting the Kent States and Chattanoogas and the garbage part of the schedule. You got off to such a great
Hot
start
garbage.
at Georgia, and then just totally, it went away. The difference here may be what you're talking about, the attitude that they have up in Ohio State right now. If Tennessee could get off to that kind of a start in the first quarter, you get up 10-0 or 14-0, I think it could be bigger than it was at Georgia. I think Georgia sits back and has a kind of confidence. Oh, you know, we're going to
We're
beat
not going to
Tennessee.
panic. You're right.
I don't know if Ohio State would have that kind of confidence if you can jump on them like you did when you were down in Athens.
And if their fans are selling tickets,
Yeah.
are their fans going to be really, how are they going to react? Can you take them out of the game with a fast start?
And I like what you were saying about the fast start, because when you look at the SEC games this season, Nico's averaging about 200 passing yards per game. The two times where he was more than like 50 yards off of that was Georgia and Arkansas, a pair of losses for Tennessee. So I think if Nico can get to like 175 yards, closer to 200, I think that will prove to be a good game for Nico. I don't think we need him to play great. If he can just play good and at least keep the defense honest so Dylan Sampson can have the game we're hoping he has, I think that's where you end up getting that fast start and where you can build momentum the rest of the way.
Gentlemen, close us out.
Well, Kirk Herbstreit said that they would boo the team if they went 3 and out on the first possession. If they fall behind, I agree completely with Bob's point. If Tennessee jumps out to 10-0, 14-0 lead, I think there's a pretty good chance the fans would turn against the team, start booing them. And then if you're getting booed in your home stadium, what's your reaction going to be if you're the player? So I do think a fast start for Tennessee is a key.
Yeah, there's not a proven championship culture and mindset at Ohio State to handle the moment, like Bob said, like Georgia did when they fell behind Tennessee.
Let me show you one last thing. Bob started in this direction. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I just want to lay out what the reality of the challenge here is. 24/7 Sports, every year they do a team talent ranking, and that means they go back and they look at the actual roster start of the season, and then they put your 5 stars and your 4 stars and your 3 stars together. So it's not just based on the signing class, it's based on who's come in via transfers and everything else. Now, there have been transfers this week that we'll talk about. There have been injuries this season. Ohio State's lost a couple of guys off their offensive line. But still, just to give you an idea of talent between Tennessee and Ohio State, this is what 24/7 had going into the season this year. Ohio State with 60, I've flipped that. It would help if I did this right. 5 stars.
It's
There you
okay.
go. 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars. Look at the number of blue chip 4 and 5 stars there. You're okay, but you've got as many 3 stars as you do blue chips. That's insane. So just, you are the underdog. You're on the road. You are a clear underdog. They have the talent, but as Bob also pointed out early, they had a talent advantage over Michigan as well, and that didn't mean much. All right, when we come back, could one team's mindset be the key to this game, or a key to the game? Plus, let's give you a chance to win 2 tickets to Tennessee at Ohio State. We'll start that next. Come on back.